from the Fresh Talks Global Vision show. I am happy to be hosting these wonderful podcasts. I've been launching podcasts, and when anybody allows us to, we get to host somebody's podcast, it's really hashtag speaker locking arms. That we are here for talking about real life stuff. It's time to open up our voice, and it gives us a chance to really see the true us so we can feel anytime we're blaming and shaming ourselves for stuff. That's the lowest frequency that we can be at. And it's easy to translate and project that out to somebody else when there's something you're uncomfortable or you're not knowing what, agenda somebody has. So we're going to be partnering with Michelle because we're going to be talking about some big things about really the back end is opening up your voice, stopping the blaming and shaming about Michelle Perry Roberts' podcast today. We're really going dormant and really good. Then when you keep doing your scientific things that help you to brought on some of those issues that realize, okay, what is it? The latest thing ourselves we're going to notice is starting to get silver. And it really is challenging to months. And from that, you're able to unveil more of who she is, what is the true her. Because she speaks a little bit different, thinking that you can be perfect. And as a hard worker, I know you get this. You'll do whatever it is to do perfectly. And as a child, dressing in a way that your mom doesn't bring you back home because you didn't dress right. So dressing yourself to the things you say, sometimes you don't know what to say, so you just stay silent. And you don't use that many words because you're kind of calculating what do I say, how much do I expose of what I'm saying. But we're learning through Michelle's journey that her voice, she started to open up more and more as she's learning more about the true her. This is going to be an excellent podcast. I can feel it. Welcome in, Michelle Perry Roberts.
Thank you so much for having me. I know this is my show, but the best part is you're the moderator plus my coach. So it's
Oh,
been an amazing opportunity to do this and grow with you the last 4 years. Oh, I think we're on 5 now.
I think we are, Michelle. And it's confusing saying 5 because it seems like it was just the other day. But we do notice that you've gone through so many different resiliency, then break you, resiliency, break you, which is what God is doing. He's helping you become more in line with your purpose and who you are truly. Can you share? Let's see if we get this answer straight. Can we share what your purpose is? Because this podcast is about I am not my diagnosis. Can we go there first about the purpose of your podcast and what that means?
Yeah, the purpose of my podcast is when I went through so many health challenges, I learned that God put me here once again. My purpose is to help people heal and live longer. And staying on that path, I've been able to work with so many different alternative companies that really make a change to somebody's chronic diseases,
Yeah.
and that your body can heal with the proper nutrition, you get to the root of the problem. That's really is. And I think the biggest part more than anything is our brains are our computers of our body. And if that's not tuned up, you're really in trouble. But at the bottom line, more than anything, is that you, I'm trying to think probably the best words, is that you never know what life's going to give you. Every day is different. So you have to be prepared.
Yeah. And sometimes things come out to left field and you go, you're wait, I wasn't prepared for that. And now I'm extra stressed because there's new things coming in related with money, related with relationships, related with the relationship within yourself. So this past month, the things that you've been doing is really studying the Bible and giving yourself the space to have some actually really good, growing, quiet space when you've been dealing with a lot of pain. How are you feeling today? How is your level of pain today relative? Let's just say a month ago, but I mean, every day you've been dealing with a lot of pain. Are you starting to get a handle on the pain that your body's going through?
Unfortunately not.
What have you been doing? Give some
I
tools
have been,
that you've been doing.
well, between pain doctors, chiropractors, and lots of prayers by people, it's definitely, this brought out this accident that happened on January 10th brought up a whole bunch of things that I thought I had in remission.
So some more chronic disease stuff.
Yeah.
Um, the almost like it exploded into because the stress of your body and what it went through. And Michelle, I want to throw in here. I've been working with my a person in my family, and some things I've been dealing with. It actually triggered some things about my body too. And so when your body gets jerked or there's some big emotion that you go through, because I want to get into emotion in a moment here, but some things happened when you got in that accident. Can you share more? Because you said, I think there's a couple chronic diseases that just fired up and you've been working through them.
Yeah, my fibromyalgia, which I had in remission, and then my TMJ came back, which is jaw stuff.
And you've been working on that because you could have your fifth or sixth surgery, and you're
No,
like,
I did
here,
not.
wait, how do we work this so that doesn't happen again where I do surgery? So you're working on that, which is really cool. But all this alternative stuff is why you see yourself as a patient advocate too. Can we
Correct.
go in to you learning more of a layer of the real you? You've been speaking about being authentic. I'm seeing some of the posts that you're doing out there that you're really speaking to this. What are you learning? Because you were even talking about, adjusting, taking your extensions out of your hair, taking off your eyelashes. Like, I want to be the true authentic me. And I'm like, well, if we do that, is that going to serve you? I mean, because you like that stuff. Does that mean you're not authentic? Well, that's just part of what life we get to have here on earth. Isn't it more inside? So what
It
have you
is.
been learning about yourself? You're talking about stripping your whole self and you're going, well, maybe not. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, I think that, part of me is on the outside, it's always had to look perfect all the time, have the perfect hair, have the perfect, everything. And that is probably the hardest thing of growing up where you couldn't leave the house if everything wasn't dialed in. And that's kind of where my authentic self is starting to come out, is that it's okay to have these things, but it's also I'm doing it because I like it.
Well,
And
there's
I don't
something fun about beauty. I mean, the clothes I'm wearing right now, to add into your story, these are presents from you. But I mean, why am I not wearing a sweater, a sweatshirt, and no makeup? Well, because I like to look pretty. I like to look as pretty as possible. Does that mean I'm not authentic? I don't think so. And so when you were talking about stripping yourself, you're like, Rhonda, I will do anything, is pretty much it came across. If I need to take all this off, I will. And I was like, you don't need to. What you really want is to bring it from the inside. So what, Michelle, who's the authentic you? What are you finding out? Because there's some things I think you've been speaking about. Is that a good question to ask right now? Does it bring up some things that you can share?
Yeah, I think the authentic self is that, number one is my faith in Jesus and God.
Mm-hmm.
It's I couldn't have, there are so many miracles that he played on my life. And he also was very what I've learned is that the inside of me hasn't been truly broken down. It's been truly broken down again, but I'm building it up because it's taking the accountability of basically who I am.
I like that you're building yourself up. Like you really did get torn down. And like when I was talking to you, you're trying to go and build your business, which you can override stuff pretty good. And I think it's from the experience
because there's something like, what are the gems of what happened in your life when you were younger? It's like you can override stuff when you need to, because sometimes when you're building, it's okay not to incubate and just heal yourself. Sometimes you kind of need to do a little toe tapping left and right to get some things moving along so you can go rest some more and then go. So that override sometimes is very, very important. And you're really resilient that way. I've really enjoyed watching you get up when you're pretty much chattering because your pain is so bad because you can barely move, but you just keep showing up. But you're also, the layer that I notice is that on Monday when we were having this conversation, you were spending the day with the Bible and unveiling things and getting ready for Bible study in the evening. And I was like, that's the best thing for your business to do. And not everybody would agree. Because they think that it's all about action, but it's not, because it's about and manifesting in a way of like the vision and the creativity that comes with it is extremely important. Not manifesting and just sitting there and saying, I want this, but you know how to move things forward and work that vision, because I want to say this, money is very attracted to you. And so there's something in your back, your early days, you've been around money. I mean, all your life, really,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
So you're not deflecting money. So when you're out there and you're creating business, you're able to really help people with their vision. And that does that. The serving is, you actually can build a really good business.
Yes.
Did you always know that about yourself, or is it something I just keep telling you because
No,
you started, you've done a tenfold in the money you make. So I don't know if you always knew that.
No, I think one of the hugest things more than ever is I have been able to create so many different things because of my relationships, knowing everybody. Companies ask me to come help them because they hear what I do, and that can change their business and bring me people together. And that is probably, those are the gifts that you cannot change. And the biggest part of me is really helping, the money flow. It's like, yeah, I lost one job, but guess what? Something better came along.
It keeps on up leveling, doesn't it? And even some contracts that you've had, people wouldn't work with you because of a contract that you had, but you learned that. It's like, here, wait, I had a contract that people didn't feel very good about. They didn't want to invest in me and, in paying me. So I didn't get those contracts. But once you actually sidestep that, that's in past podcasts, but then more came. So you realize the choices that you're making really halt your money, or it increases your money flow. And so you're learning about that connection of the choices and the contracts that you're doing too. You don't just say yes to anybody. It seems like you're strategically finding those people that are real serious and like really watching their money flow and using those strategies. I really appreciate watching that.
Yeah, and that's been the hugest thing for me, is you don't realize what your value is until you're like digging deep in your gift, because we all have gifts. And
we do.
Yeah, and the part that I love more than anything is I'm able to use what I went through with my story, my health journey, to be a hope to so many people. Like, we're starting the chronic disease support group again, which is huge. We are starting, getting people to know that getting to the root of their health problem can be solved.
Beautiful.
It's a life-changing thing. And a lot of people just would, hey, I had chronic diseases. I remember what it was like being so medicated on so many. I mean, I was probably taking 50 drugs a day, and I was in bed mostly the whole time. Then once I started seeking other alternatives to my health, that's when I started getting better. But it was opportunities that basically they needed they needed my help to get their practice off the ground again. And it was a great gift to be treated and get better. And the hugest part more than anything, it's like I'm able to show people that you can't, you know, think outside the box, really, when it comes down to it. I mean, our brain and gut health is amazing. And I know stress brought on my diseases. Um, Lots of traumatic things happen in my life, and, not good or bad, but just that's what basically happens because I was so angry. And at the time, getting a diagnosis, they said there was going to be no dogs, but they showed up. Um,
We tried, Michelle. At least there's no barking. We're
Um,
up leveling here.
but the hugest part more than anything was to, like, when you're on that many drugs, you're not functioning. Your brain's not working. I didn't know if I was coming or going. And then in 2013, to be in a hospital in the ICU for 9.5 months, 6 months in a nursing home, and 5 years of home health, you're like, here we go again.
It's so funny when you say it that way too. It's like it makes me think of it. It's an adventure, and I know you're not thinking that way. But on the outside, like it's just like, oh, okay, here we go. Some new resilient stuff is going to be coming up because you'll say, here we go again. But it just sounds like you're on this slide, like you're going downhill, but you're ready to go back up as soon as possible. Because sitting in the physical pain, also the emotional pain, you've been really digging in deep about having an addiction. What is your addiction that you're dealing with?
Shopping.
And the other day you were showing me that you had an outfit on that went directly to your closet. And your closet has plenty of clothes. But it's like, well, I just need to go buy something. It's like, no, you don't. And you're like, no, I don't. How do I get through this? So what are the steps? How are you kind of tackling this as this is the serious thing that was created when you were younger about the clothes that makes you feel good, and when you're not feeling good, you're reaching for that, but all your money goes right to that. On an accident, you're like, where'd all my money go? Did I really spend all that money? And you're actually getting better on knowing that where all your money went was to some place where you wouldn't spend it. But before you were confused on how much money you spent. It'd almost be like a blackout.
Yeah.
I mean, you're way better than you were 5 years ago, don't you think?
Yeah. Oh, 10 times yes. 10 times yes.
I appreciate you, the way you're showing up today. You really have that essence of resiliency, what you've been going through. How can you share with me and your audience about how God plays a role in every day? Everybody's bringing our spirituality, is bringing God, is bringing anything that you utilize on faith yourself. But how does God play a role in your life every day?
Well, every day I wake up and I say, God, who can I serve today? How can I help you? Has been a big thing. It just seems God puts these people in my life that I would have never thought of. But it's been such a powerful opportunity to help all these different people.
You said something that really got me thinking. I think it's the people that work with me, and I think it's just natural for you, and it's becoming more of like an awakened kind of a thing, is I always have a to-do list. I know where I'm going to be going for the day because I'm an action person. I like to get things done. But I also like to hear spirit, like, okay, I'm going to keep my vessel open so that it takes me to places, and where I go, it's just going to be curious. Like, and you get to discover having new relationships, great conversations, helping somebody. Like I said, hashtag speaker locking arms. You're doing that too. Like, I feel like all my clients, those are the people that are attracted to me, is that they want this type of lifestyle where it's easy, but it's not easy because you want to do your work. Because if you're not, and you get lost and you just get in the black and white of life, everything falls then and crumbles.
Yeah.
So can you share more about how, when you're waking up and you're saying, please, God, bring me the people that need help. I'm here to serve. And there's money attached to it. Before, it used to be that you have a lot of people that needed help, which is great, but they didn't have the money to provide for you. So there could be people like that. Great, donate some of your time and all that. But a lot of that was that. Now your money flow is happening, so it's bringing in. God's really bringing in and taking you places where people really need you. Every time you go somewhere, there's a story of, and that person needs me too. And sometimes it becomes a contract for you to work with them.
Yeah. And
How does that
it's
work
really,
in your day then
it's,
with God?
I just thank him for the people he brings me, because it gets me to the next level where I need to be. I mean, I've really have learned what, the biggest part more than anything is just learning who I am and who
Yeah.
Michelle is and what she loves, and to learning to be still and listen, because I was just, I still work, 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 go to sleep, work, 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 go to sleep. But now I'm starting to get into the Bible, and, this new Bible group I'm in is called Rooted, and it's
Mhm.
getting your relationship with God. Even though I've been a Christian forever, I just
Yeah.
never, I've had both feet in, but I still wasn't hearing anything.
Yeah, you're learning, huh? Like you're learning actually with that. You're just opening a new layer. That's what's been cracking and things happening. Hello, yeah, puppy. So then this is the last part. Please share with what you know who you are in heart. What are you learning about yourself? You
Well, I'm
really
learning
talk
that
about that.
I think one of the biggest things more than anything is I've learned that I can be the best version of me because of God made me, and he has his plans for me. So when something happens, it's like you're like, oh geez, you feel like you're losing everything. It's like when you dig in deeper, it's like, we got you. You'll get through this. But just for myself, it's been a tearing down, building up, tearing down, because I keep learning the same lesson over and over again.
But it gets deeper.
Yeah.
Because when you, that just means you're growing, because whatever you have is from childhood. And some people would say generational stuff and past lives, it just depends on what you are hearing, what you believe. But that is why you keep visiting the same thing over and over. But it's just deeper, because the way you're showing up today, you're able to express more of who you are because you're discovering more, and you haven't used the words before to explain all this stuff. And now you're learning how to take it from your head and your heart to be able to express, from God to be able to express really what that means. You're doing a great job.
Yeah. And I think the hugest thing has been my church and been able to serve what I do. I love teaching Sunday school. I love, service. And then Monday nights I go to CR, which is our celebration of recovery, working on my shopping addiction. And then
Yeah.
I go to Rooted, which is a new Bible study I just got in on Wednesday night. It's another group of wonderful people, but it's getting to know that people do surround you and want what's best for you. And God,
Authentically.
authentically. And God, will tear you down, but you have to build yourself up. But you can't do it alone. You got to do it with God.
Yeah. And be open that people have stuff flowing through them that's part of, the helping, the support.
Yeah.
And that's where you get to find the right people. If you're using your brain, sometimes you're like, is that person good? Is that person not? Is that, and you start like questioning it. But with the route that you have been broken and open, is that it's taking you to places where that everybody is working on pulling that and allowing that energy to come down, instead of the brain just being full in. It's like, come on, I need my heart and my spirit to actually, support also my brain. You can't just go there, because there's too much crap going on out there in the world. And it's difficult if that's the only way we go at it. So there's so much more than just the black and white, what we see. I appreciate you bringing God into this conversation deeper. This is what I feel we need. And I know that is exactly what you've been wanting to do with this podcast, is say, I'm a patient advocate. I know that God is the center of everything that I'm doing. I want people to be listening to this podcast that have these types of beliefs, because we all need to be working together to create something bigger in this world and personally our life, we want to keep asking for more and more because that's what we're here for, is to be able to receive and have everything we want, but it's being smart and not having to keep getting cracked over and over, but still listening. So do you think, I think you're done with your being cracked open for a while. Come on, please, Michelle. Let's keep building this.
I think I am, because I'm telling you, that wreck just started everything back again. You're just like, I have been through this once before.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of back taking care of something that was in remission. But I've got a great alternative care team at Sage and Soul Wellness here in Reno, Nevada. Oh my gosh, they're all over it. So that's the best part more than anything, is because you can change everything about your life if you want to do it. It's all about your attitude. And my biggest statement more than anything has always been, I'm not my diagnosis, and never ever give up. And that's been my belief system for over the last 10 years, well, almost 15 years now, because I was diagnosed with MS in 2007. And prior to that was my first diagnosis was fibromyalgia. So
we're going to keep growing this, Michelle. We're going to keep growing this. I feel this is I think we've gotten to that point where I think we're at the end of our moment here for this Friday with the podcast. I appreciate you so much. I want you to be able to share this out to everyone. I'll make sure that we really, this is great stuff. More people need to hear about this. Okay, my friend. Okay. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for letting Fresh Talks Global Vision host you. We are having a great time. I really truly feel that we are locking arms, and we're really just getting the trajectory out there and projecting out what is possible and truly possible. This is not phony. This is not fake. What you're learning, like, I'm not going to be phony or fake. I'm going to just be all in, and I love it. So, because I mean, I know that every time I dressed up, I thought I was being phony and fake, and it used to make me embarrassed. And now I'm dressed up, and I go, it's all part of life. Yeah. All right, my friend.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you. Now